Hello and very warm welcome at Amish Shackle 585. I am Amish Shackle. Foreign news have been reported by American, European, Asian, African, Australian news channels and the news agencies. So please, let's go to the headlines.
World News Tonight, America's most watched newscast. Now streamed same day with all the breaking news of the day on Disney Plus. Most watched, most trusted. Now on Disney Plus every night.
Tonight, several breaking stories as we come on the air here. The war with Iran, gas prices, and is Iran planning to put mines where tankers carry much of the world's oil? President Trump tonight and his new threat. Also breaking outside Philadelphia, what the FBI found in a storage facility after that attempted attack in New York City. And more than 100 million Americans under alerts right now as we come on the air for severe storms. Tonight, after the president said the war is, quote, very complete, pretty much. Tonight, the U.S. unleashing a massive air assault on Iranian targets. Central Command now targeting Iranian ships. Amid reports, Iran is planning to lay mines in the Strait of Hormuz amid global oil volatility. And tonight, the White House now revealing 140 American service members have been wounded since the war began. And for the first time, we hear from a sergeant who survived that Iranian drone attack, the husband and father from his hospital bed at Walter Reed. Also breaking outside Philadelphia tonight, what the FBI found in a storage unit after the attempted attack at the mayor's residence in New York City. Tonight, more than 100 million Americans under alerts right now. Severe storms, tornado watches as we come on. From the Great Lakes down to Texas, then moving into the Northeast. Ginger is here. Tonight, the deadly home explosion in the Northeast. Firefighters pulling a body from the debris. You will hear the audio tonight, the chaotic moments as a female suspect shoots up Rihanna's home. Authorities say with an AR-15 style rifle. The Jeffrey Epstein case tonight, why authorities are now searching a ranch in New Mexico and what they're looking for. The images coming in at this hour, lava shooting into the air in Hawaii, ash raining down tonight. Also, the massive fire on the water, a barge consumed by smoke and flames. The emergency landing on a busy road, a 19-year-old pilot at the controls. In New York City, the dolphins spotted in the East River. And take a close look at this tonight. An antique store in upstate New York, the stunning discovery. Something on that shelf, not for sale.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir. Good evening. For inspirational stories of creativity, ABC iView.
Today, Queensland Senator Matt Canavan elected leader of the Nationals with Darren Chester to serve as his deputy.
I will now not rest to fight for our nation, to fight for the Australian people, to put our country first.
Two members of the Iranian women's football team granted humanitarian visas. The US and Israel intensified their campaign in the Middle East with more strikes carried out on Tehran and Beirut. Multiple emergency flood warnings issued for the Queensland city of Bundaberg with hundreds of properties impacted. And properties on the outskirts of Darwin underwater as rain continues to lash the top end. Hello and welcome to ABC News. I'm Ros Childs. Queensland Senator Matt Canavan has outlined his agenda after being elected the new leader of the Nationals following David Littleproud's shock resignation yesterday. Victorian MP Darren Chester has become the party's deputy leader. For more, political reporter Robbie Stevens is at Parliament House.
Well, we've seen a refreshed Nationals leadership team announced after this morning's vote. As you mentioned there, Queensland Senator Matt Canavan becoming the party's new leader, and Victorian MP Darren Chester has replaced Kevin Hogan as the Deputy Nationals leader. Now, this was all triggered after that shock resignation from David Littleproud yesterday, where he announced that he'll be stepping down after 4 years in the the role, in his words, saying that he was buggered and that last year's election loss had taken a toll on him. So that triggered today's vote, where Matt Canavan was eventually successful. Now, the Nationals don't reveal the results or the numbers from the vote, so we don't know how much he won by. But the Nationals party whip, Michelle Landry,
This is Asia Now.
It's 11 a.m. in Singapore and Hong Kong, 8:30 in New Delhi, and 10 o'clock in Jakarta. I'm Paul Soon. At this hour, no signs of de-escalation in the Middle East as the war on Iran enters its 12th day. The U.S. warns of the most intense strikes yet, with the death toll climbing across the region. Oil prices trading below $90 a barrel, following mixed messages on the Iran war and a report that the International Energy Agency has proposed the largest ever release of oil reserves aimed at easing higher energy prices. China's top political advisory body, the 14th National Committee of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, concludes its fourth session, emphasizing unity and progress towards what it describes as national rejuvenation through Chinese-style modernization. Missiles and drones continue to pound countries in the Middle East as the war enters its 12th day. U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has warned today will mark the heaviest day of strikes on Iran. He says Washington will bring the most fighter jets and bombers against Tehran, vowing to not relent until it is completely defeated.
No hesitation, no half measures. As President Trump declared yesterday, we're crushing the enemy in an overwhelming display of technical skill and military force.
The U.S. has shouted significant progress towards its military objectives. Washington is now targeting Iran's missile production facilities, one of three key goals of the campaign. The rest includes destroying Iran's naval capabilities and permanently preventing Tehran from developing nuclear weapons. Iranian officials say U.S. and Israeli forces have bombed nearly 10,000 civilian sites in the country, killing thousands since fighting erupted late February. At least 6 people were killed near Tehran's Rasalat Square. Footage by humanitarian organization The Red Crescent showed damage and debris surrounding the area as rescue workers carried body bags into vehicles at the site.
6 نفر شهید داریم و چندین نفر مجروح و بچه‌ها در تلاش حساب می‌کنن شهدا رو تیکه تیکه از روی زمین جمع کنن. مستقیما وسط اتوبانه و مستقیما خودروهای عبوری.
Hello, welcome to Night Watch here on France 24, covering the latest with the war in Iran. Here are some of the top stories. U.S. forces eliminate multiple Iranian naval vessels, including 16 mine layers near the Strait of Hormuz. This after Donald Trump threatens Iran to remove all mines it placed in the narrow waterway, or they will be dealt with quickly and violently. Iran vows to fight on and carries out strikes on American and Israeli targets. Gulf states are bearing the brunt, such as Bahrain, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Kuwait, having to launch air defenses to intercept Iranian missiles and drones. And the southern suburbs of Beirut are once again hit by Israel. This despite Lebanon requesting a cessation in fighting to allow for talks. 760,000 people registered as displaced.
So, producers, especially in the Indian Ocean, could survive. This harmful price dumping was protectionism between European governments and oil companies.
In beet sugar world market.
To Martinique. Factories.
Well, collapses. It's about looking for other ways. National income. So there's still more products for exports. So banana.
On this Tuesday night, fresh bombardments in Iran and Lebanon. The growing death toll and a tough talk from the White House.
Iran can talk all they want, and their words will be very empty when we've completely annihilated their navy.
As the consequences of the war pile up.
I'm very worried about how long this will drag on.
The latest mixed messaging from the U.S. and Israel. A rare apology from a politician.
We got it wrong. And for that, I'm sorry.
Why Nova Scotia's premier is backtracking. Plus, a poignant, posthumous honor.
Baker's presence permeated throughout the whole school.
How a Canadian university is fulfilling one student's dream to be a doctor.
Global National with Donna Friesen.
Good evening and thanks for joining.
Africa News. The news.
A joint call for peace in the Middle East from the South African president and his Brazilian counterpart as the two met in Brasilia. President Lula da Silva insisted his belief that drones should be used for other purposes than warfare. Here in South America, we position ourselves as a region of peace. Here, no one has nuclear bombs, no one has atomic bombs. Here, our drones are for agriculture, for science and technology, and not for war. His South African counterpart, Cyril Ramaphosa, lamented the loss of life in the US-Israel war against Iran, which has claimed more than 2,200 deaths in the region. Our visit to Brazil takes place against the backdrop of renewed conflict in the Middle East. We reiterate our call for the peaceful resolution of disputes in line with the United Nations Charter, and we condemn the loss of life, particularly the loss of civilian life. Warning that in his opinion, both nations should be ready to defend themselves, Brazil's president suggested Brazil and South Africa could boost cooperation in the defense sector.
U.S. military operations will end very soon. These were the comments made by the U.S. President Donald Trump on Monday, without specifying when, amid escalations in the war against Iran.
I think so.
Okay, and with respect
Very
to...
soon.
The war sent stock markets slumping and oil prices soaring. Oil rose above $100 on Monday, leading to higher fuel prices in several U.S. states. In a bid to calm prices, Trump announced he will waive some sanctions on oil, following talks with the Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Well, we're looking to keep the oil prices down. We went artificially up because of this excursion into a very positive thing. I mean, this was an excursion that a lot of people wouldn't have done. I knew oil prices would go up if I...
Tonight, if you live in Iran, you probably want to stay underground. Today will be, yet again, our most intense day of strikes inside Iran. The most fighters, the most bombers, the most strikes. Intelligence more refined and better than ever. Now it's wheels up for America's deadliest weapon, the B-52 Doomsday bombers, capable of carrying 70,000 pounds of ordnance, including cruise missiles, 30,000-pound bunker busters, and even nuclear weapons. It's the first time the Doomsday has been deployed since the start of the war.
This is what the president means when he says he ain't seen nothing yet. Iran's missile launches have collapsed by 92%. They went from launching 420 missiles a day last week to averaging just 45. We're knocking them down and blowing up the launch pads. The Iranians are also running out of friends.
Big mistake by the Iranian regime to start targeting its neighbors right away, exposing who they are and what they're all about, indiscriminate targeting, flailing recklessly at the beginning. I can't say that we anticipated necessarily that's exactly how they would react, but we knew it was a possibility. And I think it was a demonstration of the desperation of that regime then and that regime now, that they still think their pathway out is to try to alienate their Arab partners even more, who've instead decided to come to us.
The mullahs are isolated and their proxies are biting the dust. Israel eliminated Hezbollah's commander in Lebanon. The Houthis have gone dark. And Hamas, so far, has respected the ceasefire. Meanwhile, the performance of the U.S. military...
This is Sky News, the headlines. Explosions in Tehran as the United States claims the most intense day of strikes on Iran since the start of the war.
This is not endless. It's not protracted. We're not allowing mission creep. The president has set a very specific mission to accomplish, and our job is to unrelentingly deliver that.
Cutting off the world's oil supply, US intelligence sources suggest Iran has begun laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz. Also ahead, HMS Dragon finally sets sail from Portsmouth and heads to Cyprus. The questions about the state of the Royal Navy won't go away. The 7 members of Iran's women's football team seek asylum in Australia. US President Donald Trump is facing growing questions at home over his decision to go to war with Iran. There are reports that Iran has begun laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most important shipping lanes, with the White House threatening consequences at a level never seen before. Iran says that nearly 10,000 civilian sites have been hit by the US and Israel, and more than 1,300 people killed. Well, our US correspondent David Blevins reports from Washington.
Eliminating the threat, the US boasting that it has completely destroyed multiple Iranian mine-laying vessels in the Strait of Hormuz, while the self-styled Secretary of War plays
Thank you for watching. I'm Shakil 5858. I hope you will come again. Have a good life. Bye-bye.